Wagwan, wagwan, this there family. Guess where I am? Jamaica, beautiful Jamaica, of course, beautiful Jamaica. Anyway, listen, this video, as you could see in the title below, is my experience traveling to Jamaica. How many of you guys want to come to Jamaica? You either don't know the process, the procedure, or you're scared to come because you hear all these kind of things. And I'm talking from experience. When I just heard that Jamaica is giving the COVID-19 test, it scares me, and I'm like, I don't want to go. But let me tell you what I went through, and things are changing every month. The restrictions they had in June is a different restriction they have in July, and now we're in August, and so the restrictions are getting less and less. So this is my experience traveling to Jamaica. So I have someone behind the camera who is going to ask me the questions, and so when the question is asked, I'll answer it. All right, big up listener family. I ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Listener family, that's who we are. This is a family channel, as I always say. Please hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Anyway, here we go. Q&A.
How did you prepare before you travel?
All right, so a lot of people want to know what they need to do before you actually even buy your ticket. So for me, this is what I did when I know my vacation is coming up. I did a little reading on the website, visitjamaica.com. I would recommend that you all go to this website. Read whatever you can read, because there's two things. When you're traveling as a visitor, and when you are coming back to Jamaica, which is you're coming back to your home. So for me, I didn't read up on coming back to home because I live in the United States. What I did was I read up on being a visitor to Jamaica. And so one of the requirements that they have is that they recommend that you take a COVID-19 test, which I did. Got my results, took a little while, but yeah, it's good for you to have that in hand. So the COVID test, and then the next thing is when you go onto the website, visitjamaica.com, you need to fill out an authorization form, and you will get the approval. They're gonna ask you some questions. It's not a lot of questions. It's your profile, you know, your name, your address, when you're traveling, your flight that you booked. They just need the flight number. What was the other question that they asked? Where you're gonna be staying, because that's important, and the state that you're coming from. And the reason I think why they ask you about the state that you're coming from, we have some states that are hotspot, and so you know you want to get your approval right away. So I didn't travel out of New York because I know New York maybe is a hotspot, so I came out of New Jersey. And so those are some of the questions that they'll ask you in the authorization. I recommended that you do go online, fill this out, because as soon as you hit that airport, they are gonna ask you that. For that, first thing they ask you for is your authorization. Okay, so the question was, what did I do before I travel? Is COVID test, COVID-19 test, and I prepare myself with getting approval, authorization approved before I even buy my ticket. But it's good that you buy your ticket because they ask you for the flight number, what airline that you're going to be traveling on.
What was the procedure at the airport in the US?
Okay, so the question is, what is the procedure at the airport in the US? To me, I think it's normal. I didn't go through too much. You know, you get there, they weigh your bag, they check you in, ask you for that approval. So I think that's the only thing that's different, is that you have to show that approval, authorization that you get, because if you don't, you never went online, you never filled that form out, they're gonna tell you, you gotta come out of the line and you gotta go get the approval done. And the approval may take 10 minutes, it may take a couple hours, it may take a day, we don't know. So, you know, once you go in and you fill everything out, it's gonna ask you where you're coming from. And I believe that if you're coming from a hot spot, you might not get an approval right away, because you may have to upload your COVID test result. They didn't ask for my upload to upload my COVID test result, but I sure have it on my phone just in case I needed to upload that. So
My third question.
Yes.
What was the procedure once you landed in Jamaica?
Once I landed in Jamaica, thank you, Lord. I was so excited. I was so excited. You know, as usual, when you land back home, everybody clap. Yes, I think once I landed in Jamaica, the regular procedure is you head on straight to immigration. That was the regular procedure. Thing is, once you landed in Jamaica, you go into this line and it kind of slow down, so the line get longer and longer and longer, and you're wondering, when am I going to get to immigration? The thing is, you have to go through a screening, and the screening is done at the Ministry of Health. Okay, these guys, they're there. It's the first I'm seeing doctors and nurses at the airport. Were very friendly. I even saw soldiers, and they're soldiers, they have like MP, so I thought it's member of parliament. I'm asking them, what does it mean? But they said it's military police. That's what they are. So the military police were there. You have the doctors and the nurses from the Ministry of Health, and they do a pre-screening before you go to immigration. So this is like the main change that I noticed, or I saw. When we get to them finally, which we waited about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, and we are like asking, why is it taking so long? One of the MP told me that they had about 6 flights that came in. So I guess if you should travel and you went into that line to immigration, it may be shorter, it may be longer, but for us, it took us almost 2 hours. So we finally get there to the Ministry of Health, and we're doing the screening, and just the general questions are asked, you know, where you're going and where you're going to be staying at. For me, I stayed at a hotel, so they didn't really ask too much questions in like, give me your telephone number, because I've heard where they need the telephone number so they could keep a track on you. And of course I was like, okay, so you know, this is me, can I go to like another parish, because I'm going to be staying on the North Coast? Can I go to another parish? He told me that it's not up to them who is doing the screening at the Ministry of Health, it's up to immigration. So when I get up to immigration, that's when I'll ask that question. So that is what I went through when I just landed before I reached immigration. So now I'm at the spot where I'm heading on to immigration. So you have another question?
So once you got to the immigration, what did they ask you?
Okay, so once I get to immigration, the question is, what did they ask me? So as usual, you know, go to immigration, they take your passport and they ask you how long you're staying, where you're staying at. And they did ask those questions, and I, you know, told her I'm staying at a hotel, just couple days. And she said, okay then. You know, there was no other question. And my book was stamped, and she did that for Leicester as well. So I'm in the back of my head thinking, am I going to be able to go to Mandeville to go visit, or, you know, to go to another parish? So I asked the immigration, I said, would I be able to leave my location and go to another location? When I get my passport back, I was wondering, I'm not on any restriction. So I decided I'm gonna ask, because I didn't, you know, because I remember when we were doing the pre-screening or the screening before we get to the immigration, I gave them, both Leicester and myself, number and another emergency number. So, you know, and it's on computer, it's all computerized. So I'm saying maybe that's how they're gonna keep track of us, because that's what we heard, that you come to Jamaica and they're keeping track of you. But I was not quarantined. I was not asked to stay one place. Like most people are saying that you have to stay one place. The immigration did not say anything about them calling, or I have to go on, log into the website. As we heard, you know, of people who traveled before that have that experience. So my thing, I think, is every month is getting lesser and lesser, because I remember asking this question, is there going to be any other changes? And they said as of August 7th, they're still going to be lifting some restriction. So I think they start doing that, you know, and that's the reason why I was not put on quarantine. So if I want, I could travel from parish to parish. The only thing they advised me was not to go hug anyone. So any other questions?
My final question.
Oh, one more question.
No, that's it.
That was the final question. Okay, I'm leaving America. When I go to the screening for the Ministry of Health, and when I get to immigration, they ask me for my authorization approval. And then I show them also my COVID-19 test. They didn't ask for it, but I showed it to them. The other thing that I noticed is that they constantly unsanitize you. So you're in the line and you're waiting. I was unsanitized about 3 times within that hour and a half. So they'll spray your hand. And I noticed that in the stores too. On my way from the airport, I stopped at, yesterday her jerk chicken. Yeah, we stopped at Scotch's and we went into a store nearby and they hand sanitize us. We came to the hotel, they hand sanitize us. So those are like the only little difference or little change. And so I am here. You guys are gonna get videos. Be patient with me. I have some in store for you guys. From I was leaving America until I'm here now. Beautiful land that I love. Everybody know I love my Jamaica. I can't do without Jamaica. Yes, I have my heart here in Jamaica. All right, guys, so I hope you guys have learned something. Don't be afraid to come back home. Don't be afraid. You may be nervous. I was nervous, wondering what's gonna happen. I was nervous when I took my COVID-19 test. I have record of that, and I'm gonna do a video on that as well. I was nervous if they're gonna do the test at the airport because I heard that it wasn't really not nice the way they do it. And you know, once I landed, once I come outside and I feel that Jamaica breeze, I was fine. I was okay. I know that I'm home. Yes, I'm home and I'm here to enjoy myself. So I will see you guys in the next video. Big up, let's there, family.